Hello, welcome to the Power of 12 by 12, brought to you by Swan Magic. My name's Katie. I am a coach for Swan Magic, and we've just entered Taurus season. So this is the period between April 21st and May 20th. Question I like to ask people is what comes to mind when you see 12 times 12? Oftentimes I get told 144 because that in mathematics is the answer. And I look at 12 as a common cultural conceptual mark of completion. So we see 12 hours, we see 12 months. In 12-step recovery programs, there's 12 steps, 12 traditions, 12 promises. We find 12 zodiac signs and 12 houses in astrology and 12 apostles and 12 days of Christmas in Christianity. I didn't think that that was an accident. And so these are the areas that I focus on. I feel these are the areas that the cultural and society of today needs the most healing. And I feel like it's learning what the true meaning of this equation is. So what can you expect? Class participation versus observation on YouTube. This is the video that I am posting on YouTube. This is the first class for the week of April 21st. My next live class is Friday, April 28th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This slide is going to serve for that class primarily, but when you will participate in a live class, I want you to feel like it is a safe space for you to share, grow, and learn. And that just like with any other class, whether you receive transferable credits at a college or you receive non-credited, take a non-credited class through your local parks and rec, it's whatever you put in, you'll get out of it. And applies even to listening. If this is the YouTube link that you clicked on, if you sit down and listen to this YouTube video and watch it, as opposed to doing something else, maybe you sit down with the books that, we talk about, even if this is just via YouTube. So whatever you put into it, you get out of it. So I will post a pre-class or post-class this week. It is a post-class. So I've already taught this class live on Friday, April 21st. It was awesome. I'm really glad that I was able to teach it before posting it, primarily because this is a big placement for me. And so when you participate in the live class, the benefit, the pros of that is I'm able to go over your birth chart with you and show you what I think it means and where you're at in your birth chart and time. And so that is the benefit of attending live. And the next, like I said, the next class is Friday, April 28th. Each season, the night of the class changes. I did this for a couple of reasons. The primary reason is because if you pick the night that agrees with the planet, it's more agreeable. You'll have an easier time understanding it. So if we talk about Venus and all of the things Taurus on Friday, that's her day. She's going to be a lot more agreeable. And, the same thing held true for Aries. They like to be talked about, Mars likes to be talked about on Tuesday. Passion is Tuesday. And, Gemini will be Wednesday. You can read the rest of this slide to see the various dates. But this also allowed a lot of my recovery friends that attend home group meetings to join. So if your home group meeting is always on Wednesday night, you may miss 4 nights, but then you're free, the rest of the time or whatever your night is. So that's why I thought it would be just a really fun, quirky way to differentiate my class from somebody else's. Monthly, So each season we do go over an aspect of spirituality. The first week is always astrology. Second week was recovery. Third week is Christianity. Fourth is recovery, part 2. So how this breaks down this season: Taurus season live Friday night, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. The 21st has already happened. We already did that class, but this is the class that you will be watching on YouTube. And we cover Venus, Taurus, second house. Next week, Friday, April 28th at 7 o'clock, we will then go over step 2, tradition 2. May 5th, we'll go over the second day of Christmas, and we'll go over the Taurus of the group, the apostle sign-in. And then we, on the 12th, we'll go over trait 2 and promise 2. I cover a program called Alcoholics Anonymous, and I cover a program called Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families, AA and ACA. These are the important information and disclosures after what I just said. This is not an AA or an ACA meeting. This is my class. It's a way that I can teach a holistic approach to healing. If you have a trauma in your childhood regarding religious or poverty, addiction, maybe a heavy focus on material objects and money. So anything around that trauma, this is what that class has, this holistic approach of applying those 4 tenets: the Christianity, astrology, timekeeping, and recovery. When I put those 4 components together, that's where I found a lot of pillared strength. And so that's what this class is. So while you may have found this class as a result of a 12-step program, this is not a substitute for one. AA.org or adultchildren.org. Wherever you feel powerless in your life or unmanageable, seek help, go to a meeting. There are great people there, I promise. I am not a licensed therapist, nor do I play one on TV. Not a counselor. I hold the equivalent of an associate of arts in early childhood education. I have extensive background in financial work. I worked at credit unions. I've worked as project managers, office manager. And so I am funneling all of that experience into this class. Supplies are needed if you really want to participate to the fullest. I have a list. Syllabus is available only upon request and for people who are really registered completely for the course. It's time consuming on my end. I'm happy to provide it though for those who are serious and seeking. Code of conduct and policies at this moment in time are verbal: respect, dignity, kindness. Basically the 12 principles found in recovery. If you don't know what they are, Google them. Suggested supplies on a night like tonight is the birth chart night. This is where it does come in handy to have various supplies. I like thinner pens so that I can differentiate on a birth chart via color what signs are where and what. I was going to grab my example, which is right here. So I send out a blank chart. I would love for you to print it up and then use your pins to fill in your chart as we go. So last month, the first month, we covered Aries season, and we also covered the first house. So wherever your Aries was and wherever your first house was, we covered. And this month, we're going to be covering the second house and wherever your Taurus is. So those are the 2 areas that we would be filling in. If you are live, I want to show you how to do this. So a folder to keep the stuff in. I like to staple my attachments to the folder. It just makes it a little bit easier. And a ruler as we go over aspects and we start measuring the lines and really doing the math. It is helpful to have a ruler. staplers, pen and eraser. So if you want to sketch it before you draw it. And then these are the colors. Tonight's green because it's Taurus season, and Venus. Okay. The books. So the first four are recovery-based books. You can find them at aa.org or aca.org. They are great books to have just on hand, in my personal opinion. The rest of the books are areas that I feel are important in a birth chart. However, I think the most beneficial, if you are limited on funds, if you can grab the Arcana of Astrology by Claire Goodchild. It does come with a deck. It's a oracle deck, but I primarily want you to have this book. It's a great resource. This is another great resource. It's The Secret Language of Astrology. So these two would be the best copies. A copy of the Bible. Tarot cards are great. I put the Tarot Psychology as well as the Tarot for Self-Care. Those kind of blend really well in together to kind of learn the intention behind the cards. And the Astrology for the Soul has to do with your North Node. The Chiron effect has to do with your Chiron. North Node and Chiron are areas that I focus on in a birth chart because it's where you're going and the one that you need to address for the rest of your life. Those seem like two really important pieces of the birth chart, you know, while I'm still going to process all those other feelings as being a human, you know, my karma and my love and my passion and all those things. I really, being who I am, want to focus on that North Node and that Chiron. So, what to expect weekly? So this is just a class that I funnel my experience, strength, and hope into this safe framework of teaching. So each week I do an introduction when in our live class, let people get settled. If they're eating, drinking, I do like the camera on. So that's why I like to, the first, 10 to 15 minutes, I don't make the camera come on. But then when we're participating, it is helpful. It encourages and fosters a safe environment. We'll do a review like I just did. And this would be the screen where if we're at live, I would pause and answer any questions. I'm going to lecture for 25 to 35 minutes. I talk fast and I'm trying to slow that down. So then in our live classes, we would do the activity or group discussion, questions on specific placements. And then if and when we get to the part where we do the short stories and poems, artistic student work highlighted, that would be at the end of the class. Most important thing I want you to think about or know about is katie@swanmagic.com is my email. Use it with any questions. Office hours are flexible. So 222. Venus, she is the second planet from the sun. This is the actor. The birth chart is comprised of 3 areas. We have the planet, which is the actor. We have the sign, which is the costume, and we have the house, which is the stage. So when you look at a birth chart, you will see that pie-shaped number 2 has a sign associated with it and planets inside of it. So how does that look and break down? So this would be the stage, and the second house is this possessions, values, money, things that are indulgences, self-worth, our luxuries, the things that make us feel comfortable. It's very earthy energy, but it's like resourcefulness. It's what we need. Okay, so it's what we need. So that is the stage. And then the actor is the planet, and Venus is love. It's the muse. And then the costume that we're going over today is Taurus costume. So a Taurus looks differently than a Scorpio, right? So we're going to go over the costume, we're going to go over the stage, and we're going to go over the actor. Yeah. The actress, Venus, she's the goddess of love. She's the muse. She's the energy of pleasure. I put the picture of the Venus flytrap on here because Venus attaches to things. Venus rules Taurus and Libra, and Taurus attaches to material objects and possessions, and Libra attaches to relationships and people, partnerships. That is a great way to distinguish it. They're both going to attach, but one is to objects, which is Taurus, one to relationships and people, Libra. Hi, I'm a Libra sun, and it's in the second house. Let's get going. So Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Taurus and Libras need to watch out for throat and kidneys. Ironically, I've had 7 to 9 surgeries on my kidneys. I included this screen because Venus is the second planet. I'm going to use this as well. So here's our sun. We've got Mercury, which we know represents Gemini, and it's the 3rd house, and it's this communication. Then we've got Venus, then we've got Earth, and then we got Mars. Sorry, I'm going to swap these two. So the reason why I wanted to show this is a concept that I have, because I wondered why Mars wasn't first or why Sun wasn't first. And I realized that the Aries energy, that fiery Aries masculine energy, is the force. It's the beginning. It's the thing that pushes our Earth forward towards the sun, towards that joy, where we then get pinged by Venus, and Venus is the second one. It's the love, right? So this passion pushes our earthling into this love, and then our love goes into communication. When we love someone, we want to communicate with them, and we want to experience joy and pleasure. We want to experience much of the happy sun energy with them once we have that love, right? So it's this second planet from the sun I just thought was really cool. I was like a really cool link for me. And Venus in tarot is the Empress. So this energy of the archetype of the mother. In tarot psychology, it's fruitfulness and luxury, all things gracious and beautiful, expansiveness, success, order, hope, optimism, love, jewelry and ornaments. Hello, Parado, anybody? Gracious but somewhat patronizing, at an extreme, self-pity, vanity, sensuality, self-indulgence. And so we really know it's the divine feminine, this prolific creativity, fertility, motherhood, unity, the goddess, sensuality, nurturing, abundance, empathy, unconditional love, the unification of mind, body, and spirit. I am ready to give birth to my abundantly rich future. That is Venus. So the costume. So if your Venus is not a like your Taurus energy can be put on any planet. So this doesn't have to be Venus, but let's say that the Venus does have a Taurus costume on. It would look, your Venus in love would look very earthy, grounded, beautiful, maybe stubborn. There'd be a really strong energy with it. A male elephant is a bull, right? The Taurus is the bull, and it's really grounded energy, earthy energy is Taurus. I pulled a couple of papers relating to Taurus. If you have your moon in Taurus, practice Practicality and endurance would be important to you, and to seek out tasks that demand you to stay grounded, realistic, and undistracted. Then indulge your full senses. If you have your Chiron in Taurus or in the second house, the core need would be to have stability, physical safety. The child's self-fear would be, I'll never have enough. And the themes would look like money issues, lack of material support. So it usually has to do with support and energy in that sense of the earthly things, money, possessions, things that we find value in. Taurus has an easier aspect when it comes to the moon, when it comes to Venus. It does not like Mars, it does not like Uranus, and it does not like Pluto. Those are two shaky planets for Taurus to feel comfortable in. So if you have those placements, you might be well aware. So let's go over the second house. The second house energy, like I said, I'll read from this, is money, work, income, daily routines, values, material possessions, priorities, habits, your job and work ethic. It is the house of concrete values. It falls under the first quadrant. The first quadrant are our basic needs. And this specific house has to do with the things that we possess, our secureness, certainties, our material needs. It's the realm of values, possessions, holding on to objects and feelings through beautiful art, furnishings, natures, places, and plants. People like to have plants in their house. So house 1 is how we appear, and house 2 is what we need, what we place value on. Let me just check that where I'm at. So this is a harder class for me to teach. This is where my vulnerability is going to come out, and that part is a little bit more challenging for me to share. However, I do believe it is important. My Jupiter is in my 3rd house as a Sagittarius, dressed up like a Sagittarius, which my adventure really looks like wanting to teach this. I think that's where my luck is going to be, is to teach us in a very adventuresome way. I'm going to switch over to a screen. Where we will review my birth chart. It's going to be easier to use my birth chart as opposed to anybody else's, because I can share my experience, strength, and hope using my birth chart. And the house 2 is a perfect example. So if you recall, house 2 looks very much like the house of values. It's your self-worth, it's your possessions, it's your money. And my birth chart shows that I have my sun in Libra, my Pluto in Libra, and my Saturn in Scorpio. Those are the 3 planets that fall into my birth chart. And keep in mind that when a planet is it's in your 2nd house, it's made insecure. So my sun is now made insecure, my Pluto is insecure, and my Saturn is insecure. And I will go over what that would look like. So my sun in the 2nd house, the sun's usually the most important component of the natal chart. You want to take a good long look at where the sun is placed. This is where you're going to have a lot of your joy in. So people who have their sun in the 2nd house have great talent when it comes to finances. Got a job at the credit union when I was like 18, 19. And I've always been really good with with numbers and money and math. This placement suggests an above earning potential. That's accurate for me most of my life. They know how to make money. They're really good at business. I was like the ultimate like babysitters club. I went and washed people's cars. I was very entrepreneurial spirit. Money comes and goes. Some weaknesses of the sun, money comes and goes. Definitely. Material growth is not the ultimate goal of existence. So it's a self-esteem thing. And it says people with this placement keep their word and are pretty straightforward. There's no fluff here. You want to show results, not empty words. The sun in the second house expresses itself in an open way. It says out loud whatever comes to mind. And it is dressed as a dun 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 Libra. So a very balanced approach to the joy and fun of being good at money. Sweet. Learning that balance. Well, then now we also have dun 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 dun. Pluto is right next in the second house. And this is the Reaper. So this initiates a lot of change. And so it can represent someone who's resourceful and intuitively understands how to handle money. It does indicate wealth. It's intensity and extreme. And so there is a deep transformation in life. You'll experience trauma or a painful event that changes you. Here you have to deal with the extreme. So the way it manifests for me was a strong desire for possessions and financial success. I wanted it really bad, and I was going to get it. It's the planet of control. I had a fear of not letting go. So here's the deal with my Pluto, why I struggle with it being in my second house, is I had a job that destroyed my entire life. It really ripped it all to shreds. It started around my birthday and it just continued all the way to my Capricorn and season. And it's been a rough road. However, I'm a fighter. I'm resurrected. I'm reborn. I'm so reborn. I'm very like, Kanye right there with him there. So it's this impossible to destroy this planet. Learning to take money and turn it into energy and how to channel this energy. So let's talk about facing fears now. So this is the one that has kicked my butt, my Saturn. The karma, restriction, wealth, work, lesson, structure, resilience, and processes is dressed up like a Scorpio. And so a Scorpio energy is death, rebirth, omens, mystery, transformation. So Scorpio is this oversexed psychopath due to the sheer power the sign exudes. So that is dressed up as my karma. And so it looks like a lot of character defects that pop up. There becomes a deep feeling of worthlessness and extreme low self-worth. That's how it manifests, a Saturn placement in the second house. One of the lessons you have to learn in this lifetime is that good things take time. Patience is so hard for me. Patience is a character defect of mine. Facing my fears and challenges is where it comes up. I'm afraid of being poor and being in the world without any assets to rely on. And here's the thing, because of my earning power, it's never really been a problem. I've always been very fortunate. But the Saturn piece, I had to wait until my Saturn return and really learn to love myself during this time. Because this house delays financial success. You become wiser, more mature, it becomes easier to assert yourself. I now know my value. I don't discredit myself. While I have a desire to teach this class, I do understand that it's worth quite a bit. I've helped quite a few people who have told me. And so once you know, the reason why this worked for me is I had been indicted from this job for theft and identity theft. The only thing I will say to that is I did take a plea deal. I pled guilty to 22 counts unfairly. I don't feel like I had much of a choice given my financial situation at the time and where I was at life. However, it was the best choice at the time. That being said, I'm not completely innocent. There are things that I did play a part. It's not what I was accused of, but to say I had nothing to do with it is also not true. So that was where my karma really came in. And once I was able to own who and what happened without any judgment about myself and really facing this low self-esteem and Saturn in the second house, this is where I say recovery and astrology both helped me. I needed to see where I needed to apply these things. And what ended up happening is trusting my instincts. Saturn in second house is no get rich quick scheme. It has to work hard. This is a karmic lesson for you to master in this lifetime. And it's like you're not doomed. And so there's lots of people who have great placements with Saturn in your second house. And they say Saturn delays but never denies. You have to put in the hours, build something with patience and dedication. But in the long run, Saturn in the second house can make you successful if you are not afraid of doing the work. Building up experience through time can help you a lot to become financially successful. So that is what the second house placements kind of look like for me. And I didn't realize how heavy this was for me until I went over this class. I realized it was the second house portion that I struggled with. Now, when I move over to my Venus, which is happily in the 12th house and it's dressed up like a Virgo, that's a different story. And that stage is the 12th house stage, which is a very dreamy spiritual house. It's very hidden house. It's very private. It doesn't like you know, a lot of people to like poke into it. It's Neptune energy. It's this private life, and it's this illusion. It's this private Pisces underneath mastery, I believe, is the topic. And so this picture just did so well. This is a Virgo energy, and this is Pisces energy, or you could look at it as 6th house, 12th house. So my Virgo, my little Venus person, the way I love, wants to dress up super perfect and look super perfect in chaos. How true is that? Like I remember one of my friends said, I know you're Jehovah's Witness when you dressed up like a Jehovah's Witness to go to a basement AA meeting. That's true. That's a very good explanation of what a Venus dress up like a Virgo in the 12th house looks like. Just going to throw that out there. The house of your Venus is where you feel the most rich, indulgent, and beautiful. Of course, I want to dress up rich and indulgent and beautiful when I work recovery because it's spiritual. That's where I feel that feeling. When I work my swan magic is when I feel the prettiest. It's when my rings and my jewelry. It's very sensual for me. Venus in the second house would be, I know how I feel based on the way you consume my senses and my body hungers for you. Venus in the 12th house is, I know how I feel based on how much I don't want to escape reality when I'm with you. that is a very good indication to see if I love somebody. Do I want to escape reality when I'm with them? If I can handle reality when I'm with them, I think we're doing good. So that's what Venus looks like on my chart. We'll quickly go over Taurus. There's not much there. But where I'm at in my life right now in Taurus season would be in the 9th house. I've now moved over to the 9th house. And the 9th house is a house of long journeys, the realm of philosophy. It's this really knowledge, Sagittarius, teaching, adventure, discovery, outside of our comfort zone. I'm sharing my personal stuff on here. And you'll see on the chart, you know, I'm going to start, and this wound that I have to address is coming up. It's in Gemini. And it's this communication and sharing my story is a really big piece of my story. And then you'll see that it moves into my North Node, what I'm supposed to do, and my fortune. So this 4747 pops up in Gemini in my 10th house, which is career and fame and masculine energies. So that's kind of where I'm moving into, is really addressing some of my fears and anxieties about that, because it is where I'm supposed to go. I am supposed to share these things. It's where my Jupiter is in the 3rd house. I understand birth charts. I understand why I'm here and what I'm doing. It just sometimes feels a little scary. But I'm super excited to teach this class. I'm glad that I got past the Taurus season. Let's jump over back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm going to tie it all together real quick. This is first class, but this is kind of how I see it. And this is how my brain, I grabbed a sheet of paper one day and I started thinking of 137. And that was the start of this class. I thought of step 1, step 3, step 7. Then I kind of saw how all of them intertwined with one another. And I was really impressed. And so I wanted to see what it all looked like put together. I made one of these for every single, all 12 of these. So this number 2 is this hope, is the principle of the steps if you work recovery. So came to believe is the step. And then we became approval seekers and lost our identities in our process. That's an ACA-ism. We lost what we found in house 1. So house 1 is our identity. And by number 2, we've already lost it. And it's our passions that we've lost. So in order to find them again, we must move towards the sun, which Venus does for us. She provides us hope through belief. Love is the one thing most people want to believe in. It's the one thing that propels us. It propels us towards communication, towards that Mercury for sure. However, without restoring ourselves to clarity or sanity, without healing Venus, that love, that muse, without getting her healthy, depending on whatever primary program you work, we sometimes say clarity, sometimes sanity. Without restoring this, we're not going to be able to have this new freedom, new happiness. That's promise 2. Promise 2 is our self-esteem will increase as we give ourselves approval on a daily basis. So as we do that, we heal Venus. We heal our self-esteem, but we have to give ourselves approval on a daily basis. That's very hopeful to me. This happens when our house 2 is strong, our values, our self-care, our self-worth, our self-belief. We must hold our ground. And even if we appear stubborn to someone, when it comes to our needs, we need to be that bull, that goddess. Taurus season encourages us to shed guilt or shame related to preferences that have to do with our security and our comfort, our wealth. Have hope, truly start believing that when we have our self-esteem grow, it in turns gives us more material security. It's a natural cause and effect. That's how you manifest like a Taurus. You remain hopeful. Hey, I believe in myself. I have hope. And then people believe in you because you believe in yourself. So we're working, right? We're in number 2. So we did 1, which was honesty, and now we do hope. So you have honesty and hope. Of course, that's going to produce a certain level of material security for you. When you're honest and hopeful, people want to work with honest and hopeful people. And so be that goddess, be that empress, be that Hierophant. Hierophant is 5, Empress is 3, so 5-3. I got married on 5-3. This is the time that I feel very stable with my learning and knowledge and growth and healing. It's a very powerful time, especially when we tap into the current in which we're supposed to be flowing, and we start going with the natures. When you do a whirlpool, right? And we've been going on this whirlpool for so long, and we stopped. Okay, this isn't working. We started working. Aries season, we became honest, and now we're hopeful, and we're changing the direction in which we're going. Our life becomes a lot more stable when we do that. This screen, I can't take out. This screen was added. Swan Magic, more of me. Do you like listening to me? Suggested donation for this class is $12 to $24 per class. Donate what feels comfortable, though. I'd rather you hear or listening than not paying. I really want to get the message out, so I'm just going to keep doing my thing and see how it works out. Katie at swanmagic.com, swanmagic.com for paying for classes. Website is going to be worked on, but you're free to donate there as well. Cash App is $CatlessOne with 2 N's. Venmo is at SwanMagic137. That is all for tonight. Thank you for watching. I am excited to post this and excited to share this, and hopefully, you know, they say if you build it, they will come. So here we keep going. I proved it to myself this week, and it was something that I told my sponsor that I was going to do, and I'm glad that I did it for myself, for my little Katie. I proved it to myself that I do have self-worth. I do have a story to share. It's worth telling people and helping people with, so that people don't have to repeat my same mistakes, and you don't have to lose people. Mine was very traumatic. I resulted in someone passing away, and still having my self-worth and knowing that I'm doing the best I can, and really allowing my inner loving parent to drive the bus. Thank you for watching. Yeah, next class, Friday, April 28th. Go to swanmagic.com and get the link. Hope to see you then. Bye.